This is the City Council meeting for the City of Minnetrista on March 16th, 2026. And our first order of business is to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am Kathleen Refkin, acting mayor. To my left are council members Peter Vickery, Claudia Lacey, Brian Govern. We have our WSB engineer, Allison Fauski. We have our director of public works, Gary Peters, and our assistant city administrator, Paula Bauman. To my right, we have city administrator, Jasper Krugel, our director of finance, Brian Grimm, and our chief of police, Craig Squires. Joining us remotely is our attorney, Sarah Sensalad, our community development director, David Abel, and our city clerk, Ann Meyerhoff. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Nope.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. Tonight, we have special presentations. Hennepin County Commissioner Kevin Anderson, if he joins us later, we will hear from him at the end of the meeting. So we will move on to our fourth quarter financial update from Brian.
Thank you, acting mayor and council. As far as, so this is always pretty timely. We have our auditors here this week for our annual audit. They actually were remote today with, I guess they couldn't pay for weather or no, but they'll be out here.
The kids were home from school.
So, but as far as this should be good preliminary data and nothing really should change too much from at least my perspective. So as you can see in what was included in the packet, basically the revenues and expenditures were budgeted to be just shy of 7 million in the general fund, basically 6.9 for the year. And we pretty much hit those targets for both the revenue and expenditures. Revenues, we were about 25,000 less than what we budgeted for in the actual, but we're still within basically less than 1% or or 0.5%, basically what we projected. And expenditures were pretty much almost right at it, within like 0.1% or a few hundredths of basically of our budget. So we basically spent about what we had said we were going to in the general fund, which basically then brings our general fund the fund balance to a little under 3 million, about 2,944,000. So we're still about in that 39-40% that we look for when we compare it to our budgeted general fund expenditures. So still doing pretty well. Obviously, we just want to keep an eye on that. We're keeping a good fund balance reserve, but I think we have, and we will continue to do that. Then otherwise, as far as just the reports are in there, our current cash and investments for all funds is about 13.7 million across all funds. And maybe I'll just stand for any questions from council if there is any on the information that was in the packet.
Any questions?
It seemed like in 2025 we had higher costs in the main areas, the administration, the police, and attorneys, and it looked like it was mainly wages. Is that true, or
some of it had to do with, there was a few different things. In the police department, that was more our chief of police, Paul Falls retired last year. So we had obviously accrued leave payout there during, the first quarter of 2025. So that was a driving factor there. As far as the attorney, there's a lot of the costs there for the, our ongoing process we have out on the Sunnyfield with that IUP, or how, I guess.
IUP, CUP.
Items. So that's there. And then I think, as far as the wages, there was a little bit of an interesting factor as far as there's a additional payroll. There's a 27th payroll this year. It basically happens every 11 years or something, the way a biweekly payroll falls. So there was some just timing differences there or whatever as far as that. So that was, I guess, to answer your question, some of the main
that seemed like all kind of one-off kind of things.
Yeah, basically as far as things that a one-time items usually correct.
And
Well, and I just say I'm impressed that you're just within less than 1%.
Yeah, just from looking at it from a high level for, yeah, when I basically give you balance up, you know, basically once everything, all the receivables, payables and all that activity comes in and out and get to be within basically, you know, less than 1% on both was pretty good. There's obviously always some things that are gonna, you know, shift a little bit or whatever. And, but to me, looking at the more globally, the high level, if you can come in that close, we're doing a good job as far as making sure. And that's why we do these, you know, quarterly reports, even just to keep council informed on how we're sitting and stuff. So.
And Chief had the most accumulated vacation of everyone on staff.
Well, I think it was stay or whatever. Or yeah, then even, yeah, just basically time
Time
in
off.
general. So yeah, basically when you factor that one-time item in, you could see, the police, that pretty much was the driving force of why police was over on their budget. So from original, and we could have amended the budget during the year, but to me, if we're going to come in right around it, it's like, it's just at some point you can match it every item for item. But if we're coming in as we basically, you know, overall for the general fund, you know, I don't need doubt, you know, be amending the budget too often or whatever. So.
Are there any concerns with us being at 39% or?
No, because I think, you know, our policy says to be at 40, you know, and we're right about there. And the state auditor's office says to stay within 35 to 50%. So I think, you know, it's just a matter of, as you know, everyone's budgets seem to go up, that higher number goes up. So we would actually need to be putting a little more money to the bottom line. But I think a fund balance around 3 million for the general fund is a pretty decent reserve or whatever. So as far as it gets us through till we get our tax payments, you know, basically in the summertime, or, you know, twice a year, summer and then December. So, and that's, yeah, the purpose of having that 40%.
Okay. Any other questions?
What is the land use agency?
It's basically a fund that, like, when someone comes in to do, like, we've had the, you know, the Bowl property and the Crowdy ones, basically, it's a fund that's used to account for that land use activity. Basically, you know, they'll make deposits, and then, you know, as engineering and fees that the city incurs that we bill back out to them. And so it's sort of just a fund that's more of, it's supposed to be just the in and out sort of, but
An escrow or something.
yeah, basically escrows, yeah, for them to, so that the cities, you know, basically we've always had the philosophy that, you know, developments, you know, pay for themselves. So it's a separate fund that activity goes in when these different applicants, you know, pay their, whether it's a variance or subdivision or whatever, that's where the activity is located.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you for the update, Brian, and keeping everything on track.
Yeah.
If Kevin's ready, we'll hear from him now.
Thank you for having me. Sorry for being a few minutes late. I coming from one event to the next. So.
How'd you fare at your last event?
You know, it was a ribbon cutting in Maple Grove, so it was like a pretty light. It was a pretty easy lift. I'm gonna not lie. So, but I appreciate the opportunity to give my yearly update to the council. Thanks for having me. This year, I'm trying to remember last year if I brought all the sunshine and roses that I could. It's pretty bleak at the county level right now. Not gonna lie, we're facing a lot of headwinds in front of us, with some federal changes and cost shifts moving towards us. You've probably seen in the news where last year we took over the hospital system, HCMC, is in some pretty serious financial challenges and at risk of closure if we don't get state support. So that's like the cheer that I'm bringing to most of my city council updates. So I apologize in advance. Right now, the biggest challenges that we're dealing with right now are, as I mentioned, there are a number of federal cost shifts that are impacting how the county is operating and planning to operate, moving in not just this year, but into next year. We have about this year in our budget, we had about $20 million of federal cost shifts that impacted our budget. We had to eliminate about 250 positions in the county budget. We're looking at doing more of that through either some reduction in force, but mostly through management position or position management. I.e., if a position is vacated, we're not filling it like we maybe would in the past. Most of these cost shifts are coming at us from the human services side of things. There's some SNAP benefit cuts. There's some housing and urban development cuts to the tune this year, $8 million in SNAP benefit cuts and $12 million in housing and urban development cuts. Those SNAP benefits is the supplemental nutrition I'm going to get the acronym wrong, but program. And the HUD is mostly our funding that we use to make sure that people who find themselves homeless are able to connect to services and get housed again. Next year, those get bigger. In addition, next year, we also see a number of Medicaid cuts that we use to fund administrative positions to connect folks to services like mental health supports and the like. Those dollars are going to be much bigger than the $20 million. And for the hospital side of things, we're looking at an additional $100 million that we're looking at trying to find answers for within the hospital system. So that's some of the headwinds that I mentioned. To put some of those numbers into context, the entirety of our library system is about $40 million. So that's probably our biggest single line item of non-mandated services that we provide. And we're looking at probably $150 million to $200 million of cost shifts from the federal government that we are trying to answer for. We are not going to be closing down our libraries. Just want to be very clear. But we are likely to see some service disruptions. We're going to be managing things very differently than we have been able to in the past. Now, I think the next phase of all of this, we are at the legislature, we're seeking approval to implement a 1% sales tax. And that is a repurposing and increasing of the ballpark sales tax so that we can save our healthcare system. The financial challenges for Medicaid, I mentioned, was $100 million in SNAP cuts next year. That's on top of an existing structural $100 million deficit that the hospital encounters through uncompensated care. We also have a number of capital needs that we need to implement. The buildings are 75 to 80 years old in some cases, and we need to invest in them to make sure that they stay safe for patients who are seeking care there. All of those things put together, we're looking at trying to cover us in excess of $350 million every year that we have to try to make sure that we're putting into maintaining, and then have additional costs on top of that we're also trying to figure out. So we're really looking at the state at this point, because there is no way that our property taxpayers can cover that bill. There just isn't. And so we're asking the state to help us out by passing this 1% sales tax, which we know is a heavy lift. But the consequences of that for the state and the region would be HCMC would close, and that critical safety net would not be available to residents of the state of Minnesota and the region. So we're really doing everything we can. And I think the conversations are going fairly well to being able to find a revenue source that's not property tax for that. Now, all of that is to say, like, we have some pretty big challenges in front of us, but that doesn't mean that we've stopped trying to do some good work. We're still finishing up the project for the West Tonka Library. We expect that to be done this year. And that's going to be a beautiful new facility for our residents in this area. We're doing a lot of work still on our road maintenance. These are non-property tax funded primarily. And so we are making sure that we are taking every dollar that is available to us and investing it in our communities through our investment in our roads and bridges. We also are advocating not just for the sales tax, but we're trying to advocate for other things, both locally and at the federal level, to make sure that policies, thank you, this is my new aide, Kristen, this one, are put in place so that we have the partnership of our government partners at both the state and federal level to provide services to our citizens. I have, in my capacity as commissioner, I'm also heavily involved in the Association of Minnesota Counties, on the transportation committee there. At the National Association of Counties, I'm a vice chair of the Health Policy Steering Committee. And we get to advocate for policies that helped the counties across the country meet the needs that are ever increasing on all of the county systems, often without the means to pay for it locally. So these are the unfunded mandates that we talk about, hear about so often. So I also wanted to highlight, we're doing a lot of tomorrow. I'm bringing forward a resolution recognizing a GRI Awareness Month. GRI is a family reached out to me recently, and their child was diagnosed with a very rare condition. And as a parent with a child who had a very rare condition, this really spoke to me. The feeling of isolation and not knowing where to turn or who to turn to in healthcare can be really devastating to families. And so tomorrow I'll be bringing forward a resolution to recognize GRI Awareness Month for the month of March, to bring awareness to not just this particular child and the disease that he's living with, but for all families who are going through very rare conditions, knowing that sometimes just raising a little bit of awareness can help those families feel seen and their healthcare providers seek out additional support where they may not be familiar with an individual diagnosis. It is so important for parents to be able to advocate for their kids. I had a conversation this morning with the mother, and she said, I know my son. I am my son's expert. The healthcare professionals are the experts in healthcare, but I'm my kid's expert. And I think that kind of partnership between provider and parent is essential in this kind of in the world that we live in. So I'm bringing that forward tomorrow, and I hope to be able to raise some awareness, and thank you for allowing me to share that with you today. So the other things that we are working on is last week you may have heard or may hear that we passed a resolution seeking to do some cost containment on the sheriff's budget. I want to be really clear in case the sheriff ends up watching this. You never Our goal here is to not control what the sheriff does. We're facing these pretty severe budget challenges in front of us. And our partnership with the sheriff and law enforcement is equally important, and we need to make sure that we're containing overtime costs and that we're living within the means that we're given. We know that their overtime was estimated to grow, not just because of the Operation Metro surge that we saw at the beginning of this year, but structurally, there was a lot of challenges that the sheriff was dealing with. And we're committed to working alongside the sheriff to make sure that all of the mandated services and the public safety is being met for every community in Hennepin County. We have to do it in a fiscally responsible way. So that's my message to you, that we will continue to partner with our law enforcement partners in every community to make sure that that the needs of our residents are being met. But it's going to be a tough year. Thank you for the time. Happy to answer any questions. And yeah.
I have a question. So you mentioned fiscally responsible way. What is being done at Hennepin County to address the fraud and to stop it and make sure everyone is doing their jobs and evaluating the facilities that don't have people in them or the providers that aren't providing services?
Absolutely. So first off, a lot of this, we have our system, we have teams that regularly audit all of our providers. So that is a part of how we do business in Hennepin County. We have a team of people who are auditing every contract. All of our providers go through a check, and we make sure that we're checking each provider, especially the high dollar providers, on regular basis. So we have a team that is dedicated to rooting out, identifying abnormalities in billing so that we know if something is coming through that looks a little fishy. We have other people looking over that and making sure that it's addressed and reported to the appropriate authorities. A lot of what you've been hearing has been at the state level. And while we may have some contracts with them, oftentimes we are the first to notice and identify and let other people know, and then other investigations happen. Until those investigations happen, often these providers, we're required by courts to continue having them if we have a contract in place. So our goal then becomes, how do we make sure that we prove that as fast as possible so that it can't continue? So we have teams in place to make sure that it's being addressed, rooted out, and stopped as fast as possible.
Are contracts being changed? So if there's suspected fraud, services immediately stop? Are they being reworded to cover that? I mean,
where we are able to, yes. So many of this is dictated by state. So we're not, it's not within our legal capacity to alter service delivery or a provider. So if they have gone through state approval, then they have the protection of the state, and we individually can't change that. We can notify the state and hope that they do something, but that's not necessarily our.
so
We do what we can, and where we can, absolutely.
so then I'm assuming you'll be advocating for some changes where your commissioners and employees would have more authority to stop things in this legislative session then.
Yeah, I mean, we've been now within the context of us being able to have control of it. Absolutely. We have always been saying we know our providers. We know the ones who are doing good work, those who are maybe not. And we are always advocating for the ability to control our own purse strings. We are also trying to find a balance of saying, if this is the state's responsibility, the state really needs to own that. Like, we can't always be doing the state's job, which we do a lot of it. But So we do try to find that balance of, yes, absolutely. But if we're going to be doing that, we want some extra resources to do it. So.
And then with the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare, and then the House of Representatives, in a deadlock of basically complying with federal law or not, is Hennepin County advocating for them to comply so we'll get more federal dollars?
The federal dollars are gone. We don't have federal dollars coming to us. Not like, so complying or not complying, like the cuts that are being proposed, state law changes or not, is devastating to every county in Minnesota, and is going to have double-digit impacts to county budgets, because even if they were, if there was a conformity bill or something to make everything, not just the cuts, but the increase to the mandated services that goes along with that through work requirements, and what's the term? The re-verification that's needed for some of the people who are on benefits, moving that from every year, an annual review, to every 6 months, is an administrative task that is beyond the capabilities of the current systems that we are forced to use. And the staffing requirements to essentially double the workload is not a realistic thing for us to turn on in the amount of time that we were given. So we are not really in favor of what the federal government has pushed down on us, because it is going to set every county, especially in Minnesota, where we are a county administered human services primarily, it's going to create a system that's designed to fail. We are currently advocating, every county in Minnesota has identified one priority, and that's system modernization. And that system modernization means the systems that we currently use to do the checks, the income verification, the address verifications, all of the things, those systems were rolled out in the 80s. And they don't get to use mice to click and select different places. It doesn't copy fields from, if you enter in an income, it doesn't populate that to the other fields that say income. So every screen that pops up that says, what was the income again? You have to retype that in. You can't go back and you can't copy and paste it. This is the modernization that counties are asking for, because without that, the errors that people are experiencing, the error rates that you'll hear about as this gets implemented, is largely due to staff trying to put in a system that was designed in the 80s and not designed for any of the changes that are being rolled out to them. Many of the changes are technically not possible with the system that we have. So that's a whole nother thing. Like, our staff are finding workarounds in a system. So we are trying to actually encourage the state to say, can you delay implementation so that we can actually have a system that works?
Why haven't we budgeted for the upgrades in the last decade? Like, I don't understand.
3 decades, 4 decades?
Yeah.
Like, that's a question for the state.
You can't just update the systems in Hennepin County?
No, we are forced to use the state system.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if we didn't lose so much money to so much fraud, we'd have enough money to pay for things like this. And you gave me comfort when you said we're going to do all we can not to raise property taxes, because I've been here, my family's been here 60 some years, and people are leaving that I never would have thought would leave.
Yeah.
And what happens when the tax base shrinks? So something's got to get figured out. This is a really important part of Hennepin County out here.
Mhm.
But a lot of people out here are really fed up with paying their share and then seeing it go up in smoke. All you have to do is go to Hennepin County Hospital. More than half the people in that hospital are not paying anything to be there. I mean, and it's
That's
a big problem.
It's not accurate.
Okay.
So, I would say,
The waiting room doesn't look like, you know.
but see, the waiting room looks like downtown Minneapolis, right? There's diversity there. There's diversity in the ability to pay, certainly, but every person that walks through there that is eligible for service, we're the safety net, right? We are mandated to provide service for people who are not able to care for themselves. Now, I would say there are 75% of the people who are in government programs. That's Medicaid, Medicare, that's elderly folks, that's people who are below poverty. They still pay.
Of course.
There's about 11 to 15% of the people who don't have any insurance. And that number, because of some law changes, is going to go up. Because when somebody loses their health insurance, they stop going to their routine care. Now they show up to the emergency room, and we're the emergency room where they show up. And so, yeah, we are going to see an increase in our costs that we are not able to recuperate any of that dollar amount, which is far below the 50%, but a bigger number than any other healthcare system in the metro.
Do you feel hopeful? Like, do you like going to work?
Not hopeful. No, certainly not hopeful. No, but here's what I do feel. I feel like the work that we're doing in Hennepin County is necessary. And my faith has definitely taught me that we are all here to care for our neighbors. And these are my neighbors. And I'm going to do everything I can and work with every partner I can to try to make sure that we're being a welcoming place that people can call home in a responsible way, of course, right? Like we don't want people feeling compelled to leave. So,
Well, I think that's the issue is that several Minnesotans are tired of paying more than their fair share for people who aren't supposed to be here or are abusing the system. It's really hard to justify staying in Minnesota when you see billions of dollars going to fraud to people who aren't supposed to be here, who aren't legally supposed to be here, who are abusing our systems. And I think the residents of Minnesota deserve to know that Hennepin County is doing everything in their power to provide services to the legal residents of Minnesota and that our tax dollars aren't going to people who are abusing our systems. That's what most residents, I assume, would feel. We all want to help our neighbors, but you have to do things the legal, rightful way. And it's the county's job to provide the benefits and the resources to those who are following the law.
which is what we do.
On a lighter note.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter. You're so nice, Kevin. Because you're so nice, you're restraining us. You know?
What's happening with commercial real estate? Are the values coming up so that you're getting more property tax revenue from them? Or because I know in COVID, those prices nosedived and so did the tax revenue.
They did. And my understanding is we might get an update this week. I got a sneak preview. The mayor got a sneak preview last week.
Not me, Lisa.
Not you, Lisa.
Not me.
From our auditor. Unofficial is things are kind of stabling out and balancing out. Growth was fairly consistent across all of Hennepin County this last year. From both residential and industrial and commercial across all, which could indicate that there was kind of a bottoming out and a restabilization. Now, there's not a lot of growth in that. There, I'm not going to say there was like a 5% gain, but we saw kind of an evening out across the system. So hopefully that means that we're like the dip in commercial real estate, particularly in downtown. We're seeing the end of that dip, and then hopefully a stabilization and coming back up. There's not a lot of transactions to compare to down there, so some of that is anecdotal at this point.
Good. Thank you.
We'll have, I think, numbers like official numbers that I can share officially, I think at the end of this week. So
Oh, okay.
we'll make sure to get that sent.
Okay. Thank you.
You have any questions?
I did have several of my neighbors ask about, there's now the line item about the disparity elimination on our property taxes. And I see that's over $41 million fee. Just kind of talk to, I guess, how that benefits people out here in Minnetrista, and are we going to be taking a hard look at that given the budget difficulties?
Yeah, so really the disparity elimination incorporates, so one of the programs was broadband expansion. So the city of Minnetrista benefited from our investment in the disparity elimination of not having broadband out in areas like Minnetrista. And that partnership was where that group was where that that program came from. We are moving some of, like, it also included educational disparities and some other things related to that, because we know that where there are disparities, we end up spending more money on things that we need to pay for, like we're mandated to pay for. We've been doing that through a property tax funded model. First, to prove that it worked, it was actually originally through COVID dollars, so it wasn't property tax funded. Then about a year and a half ago, we shifted it into a property tax model because we needed to verify that we were seeing the results that we wanted to. Now we are moving it back into, or moving it into human services, or at least that's the proposal, to move it into human services so that it can be reimbursed through official channels like all of our other human services. So these are programs that we are seeing results, that we're paying dividends on, that we have been investing in preventative care, preventative services to make sure that we're taking care of all of our residents and identifying where those needs are greater than you would see in a random sampling. So that's really what disparity elimination means to Hennepin County.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have one more question.
Sure.
The 1% sales tax increase, what is that on specifically? All purchases? Like what are the parameters? Sales tax.
Yeah, it would be anything that is subject to sales tax. So it's not, it's certainly not our first choice, let me tell you. But
Again, going back to you just making it more expensive to live here.
here's we know that the hospital, in conversations that we've had, and this is across the state, there is a recognition that that hospital is a vital part in healthcare delivery in Minnesota, not just in Hennepin County. It serves about 30% of its people who go through those doors are not from Hennepin County, meaning other counties in Minnesota. 40% of the uncompensated trauma care that we see are from non-Hennepin County other Minnesota residents, specifically in our burn units and our trauma units. You talk to any farming community in Minnesota, and if there's a farming accident, they hope they go to HCMC.
Mhm.
And so there's wide recognition that that facility needs to survive. If it doesn't survive, the consequences to healthcare in Minnesota would be such that out of fear of, out of a lack of fear of speaking out of turn, I'm going to say if HCMC fails, North Memorial is unlikely to succeed. If North Memorial is unlikely to succeed, Alina and Children's are unlikely to be able to pick up the tabs. The ripple effects of the safety net crumbling would be catastrophic. There is not a hospital that can pick up what we provide. So the question is 1% worth saving healthcare delivery in Minnesota? I think we need to do something to make sure that we preserve that. Do I like a 1% sales tax? No, I don't. It hits people at the bottom rung the hardest, and it's generally not a fair way of taxing. It's, I think, just barely better than property taxes. Because property taxes, people who've lived in their homes for 20, 30 years, they haven't realized those gains. They're stuck with a higher bill without seeing necessarily an increase in their ability to pay it. So I see it as just a step better than a property tax, and we can't do the property tax at that level. This spreads it out across people, a broader base of people, and people who are coming into Hennepin County and buying things. We're certainly the economic engine of Minnesota. And so that cost gets borne by others as well. I would love to see the state find some kind of better, stable funding that didn't involve a property tax or a sales tax. But in our current legislative environment, I don't think that's possible. So we're going for what we think we can achieve, and we're going to work really hard to try to make sure that we can build that support, and we're seeing bipartisan support at this point for it.
Any other questions? I just have one more thing.
Yeah.
Highway 7, the potholes are atrocious, and I'm going to lose a tire. So if you could, fix that, that would be, a push from you would be great, because I
Absolutely.
drive it every day, twice a day.
We have, there's actually a planning session on phase 1 of the MnDOT.
We can't wait till 2029 for the mill and overlay.
Can't wait.
Especially not with 5 getting rerouted with their
Much
construction.
bigger project out there, safety improvements on access on a number of the access points along 7, especially this part of it. So
No, and we know all that. We had to work. I'm just talking about the potholes in general that are atrocious and getting bigger and
I'm
bigger.
sure well, I'll talk to MnDOT and have them fill them in. So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
out, Kevin.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. Our next agenda item is persons to be heard, and we have resident Kurt Schneider. If you come up to the podium, state your name and your address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Sure. Thank you. My name is Kurt Schneider. I live at 6654 Wildflower Way, and that is in the Woodland Cove development. And I want to first off, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you today about an opportunity for pedestrian safety in our neighborhood. I also want to thank Mr. Peters for recommending that I come in tonight and talk to you about this. I have 2 items that I want to bring up for you today. Both of them are on the Woodland Cove Parkway in the Woodland Cove development. The first one is at the intersection of Bellflower and Wildflower Way / Lotus Drive. Today, that is a 2-way stop. Both stop signs are on Bellflower. There is no traffic control on the Woodland Cove Lotus Drive place, and there are also no pedestrian crosswalk signage there. No striping on the road. Given that there is more construction going on south of that intersection, north of 7, More single-family homes are coming up for sale pretty much daily now. There is more pedestrian traffic there. There's also a bus stop where there's pedestrian traffic there, and there is no control over the traffic other than that two-way stop. What I'd like to recommend as a possible solution is adding a four-way stop to that intersection, as well as striping it for pedestrians. With the summer coming up and the pool traffic starting to increase, we're going to get a lot more kids there. They also have food trucks during the summer there, which generates a lot more traffic. So it'd be very nice to have something where drivers are a little bit more cautious in that intersection and paying more attention to the pedestrians.
You're talking about Woodland Cove Boulevard, not Parkway.
Boulevard, yes, thank you. Thank you. The second one is also on Woodland Cove. This one is west of Blue Stem. It is on the nature trail that crosses Woodland Cove. Today, it's striped, but there is no signage to warn drivers that there's pedestrians in that area. Similar to what is over at the crossway at Kings Point and Woodland Cove. There is a light button there that warns people of pedestrians when they're about ready to cross. It would be nice to have something like that at that intersection. A couple of instances where in the dusk and during the day, it's hard to see when you're driving west in that area. You tend to get blinded by the sun as you come over the crest, and it's almost impossible to see any pedestrians in that area. There's also some deer that come across there every now and then. I've almost had the unfortunate opportunity to hit one because I didn't see it coming. And in the summer, the boulevard area is overgrown with some larger trees that once they bloom, you cannot see incoming pedestrian traffic either way. So I'd like to suggest something that we can do there that might be a little bit more effective to warn drivers that there are pedestrians crossing in that area.
Are you talking about the pedestrian crossing in the middle of the road on the trail there? Or are you talking about the intersection of Woodland Cove Boulevard and Blue Stem?
No, it's west of Blue Stem.
So it's the actual
the
trail crossing.
Mm-hmm.
With the traffic island?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've already talked to the master board at Woodland Cove about doing some trimming or even some removal of trees. Mr. Peters also suggested that as well. And I'm on the president of the Woodland Cove East Townhome Board, so I do sit on that board as well.
We want to add it to a work session?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I assume we'd want an engineer to weigh in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good.
Yeah. What is that? Third
Add it
person?
to a work session. Okay.
So, Madam Mayor Refkin, Interim Mayor Refkin.
Kathleen's good.
I think that as council's aware, we keep every year we keep getting requests for four-way stops and crosswalks through Woodland Cove Parkway. And so if that's something that council wants to take a look at, we're more than happy to bring that back for a discussion at a work session with some recommendations.
Can we add it to an April one?
Yeah.
All right. We'll add it to a work session, hopefully in April, and
Great.
have more discussion on it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, was it Foxglove or that we added the one last year?
Yeah, it was Foxglove and Woodland Cove. Yep. All right.
It was Sunset Lane too. We had.
Well, we had the one at Lotus on the east side of the neighborhood. You're talking about the one up front off of Woodland Cove Boulevard, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There is no one else signed up under persons to be heard. So our next item is the consent agenda. Are there any that anybody wants to pull? So consent agenda items are A, approve strategic planning meeting minutes from February 26, 2026. Approve joint council meeting minutes from February 26, 2026. C, approve work session meeting minutes from March 2nd, 2026. D, approve city council regular meeting minutes from March 2nd, 2026. E, resolution number 2826, approve claims. F, resolution number 2926, approve Woodland Cove Water Treatment Plant change order number 1 for architectural precast exterior modifications. And G, resolution number 30 26, approve repairs to Public Works aerial lift truck boom system. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. Next is our public hearing for the 2026 street improvement project.
Yes, I will let Ms.
I'll send it
Fausti.
over to me.
Alice.
Thank you. Thank you, Acting Mayor, council members. So this evening, we are here to hold an assessment hearing of this might look very familiar because it's pretty much the same presentation from a month ago, updated though, for this to be an assessment hearing. So this map indicates the streets that are included in this year's project. And then on the next slide was just a quick background of what we're looking to do, mill and overlay on the majority of streets. The cores did indicate that there are some pavement sections that require full depth removal and replacement. Game Farm Road, there's a small segment of that's the portion that the council is going to hold the assessment hearing for this evening. And then there's also small portions of Basswood Drive, North Saunders Lake Drive, West Edge Boulevard for removal and replacement, but consistent with past practice because it was such a small portion of those roads, those sections are not proposed to be assessed. We'll have some spot curb and gutter repair. And then we're also recommending that we have a bid alternate for the under seal of Game Farm Road. And then we have some utilities, some trail improvements that we discussed too, that we included as a bid alternate. And spoiler alert, we are recommending that we not award that because there was an data entry error on the base bidder that was low. And in discussion with Public Works, we think we can get a better price if we move forward with quoting that project. So we'll more to come on that in the future. Mm-hmm. And then the next slide goes over just some very minor utility improvements, installation of inflow and infiltration barriers on sanitary sewer manholes, replacements of 2 culverts under Game Farm Road, and then also a bid alternate to relocate the hydrant that you can see here in the bottom photo. Peter's happy. And then next, we're just the project costs here. This is a summary that council saw a month ago at the meeting, explaining what we saw from the base bid and the bid alternates. 6 bids were received in total. And then on the next slide, I talk about base alternate 1 and the discussion that we had at the last meeting on why we're looking to, we're recommending that council award the contract without alternate 1 because what we saw for price variance for that trail still gives the city the best economic standpoint if we remove that from this project and have that separate. So we are recommending that to council. And then the genesis for this presentation this evening is the assessment hearing. So assessment notices were mailed out to the properties that are proposed to be assessed. The assessment is proposed at $10,000 per unit. And that is the basis from 2022 special benefit analysis that was done for a couple of different projects here in the city. And staff and council have looked back to that as a guideline for a cap on proposed assessments. If that cap were not in place, I believe we were somewhere between, I think it was $15,600 or $16,000 per unit assessment for this project. So if council heeds the recommendation of $10,000 per unit, these residents see a lower assessment costs than what we see in the assessment policy. The assessment notices included all the information required by state statutes, which included the assessment, the interest rates, as well as the opportunities to get a hardship deferral. And that the assessment period is proposed over a 20-year period. And then we also provided them information to contact city staff should they have any questions. And we also included, and I think this is really nice that the finance department does this. They're provided with a breakdown of what the assessment cost would be per year so that people can see what the financial impact is from year to year. So I think that's a nice option that the city provides. This map shows the proposed assessments. As we discussed a month ago here, parcels 3 and 5 were combined after the feasibility report and the first public hearing were held. And actually last week when I checked Hennepin County, it was in the process of being updated. Therefore, with those two parcels being combined, the property owner did provide all the paperwork associated with that. So there is verification for that. So we just included, we kept parcel 5 on the assessment roll, but have that noted as 0 just for bookkeeping purposes. And then this is the breakdown of the proposed project funding. So we're just over, including contingency and indirect costs. So we had 5% contingency and 20% indirect costs. We're looking at a total project cost of just over 2.57 million, with a combination of city funds, state aid funding, which is for Game Farm Road, special assessment funds, City of Mound for their portion of West Edge Road. And all of that's broken down here for council to see. And you'll note that bid alternate 1, we have no amount proposed for funding since that's not included in the recommended award of bid. So with that, here we are this evening to hold the assessment hearing and award the contract. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions prior to opening the assessment hearing this evening.
Did we confirm with Mound they're going to pay their amount?
I'll defer to Mr. Peters on that.
Been in communication with both their street superintendent and their public works director, and they have not gotten it to their council yet. So hopefully they will. So no matter what, I mean, it's, I think we should probably just go ahead and do our portion. I'm sure they'll go for it. So I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of a small amount, but it doesn't pay to skip it for, but I'm sure that'll be something that'll pass.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. I will open the public hearing for the assessment on the 2026 street improvement project. I will close the public hearing at 7:28 for the assessment and hearing of the 2026 street improvement projects. Any other questions or discussion by council?
That's good.
All right. Is there a motion to approve, adopt the final resolution and award the contract of the 2026 street improvement project?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. Next, we have the resolution number 3226, award a contract for the 2026 street improvement project, city project number 1-26.
I think,
Did I skip something?
I think you might have done that one already. If I heard
Oh.
correctly, I think you might have awarded the contract. Now I think it would be awarding or adopting the assessment role for the 2026.
Oh.
Does that sound right? I think
Maybe.
I was hearing it.
Well, because possibly, because the note in the thing says adopt final assessment role and award contract. So that's one item in there. So let's do them both.
Well,
All right.
you do. You need to adopt the assessment,
All right.
sorry,
Let's
assessment
adopt-
role, and then the
All
award the
right.
contract is 2 separate.
Yeah.
Agenda item is the same title. All right, so do I have a motion to resolution number 3126, adopt the assessment of the 2026 street improvement project and the city project number 01-26?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. And we already awarded the contract. All right, got it. Next to our business item, the bond sales.
And I think we can probably turn that over to Todd Hagan with Ellers to speak to that, and then we can
Thank you.
supplement with any.
Sure. Now to pay for that, right? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members, Todd Hagan from Ellers and Associates. Thanks again for having me. So we are kind of kicking off the bond sale tonight. Not selling bonds till April 20th. I think we've got in here. So the council has what we call a pre-sale report in your packets. It has kind of the terms and conditions of what we're financing on an estimated basis. Also attached is an estimate of the bond schedules And then there is a bond buyer index graph that kind of shows where we are in the world of interest rates, just kind of the trend. So you can take a look at that. We probably won't be seeing rates that were experienced in 2020 through 2022 if you look at that graph, but we're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. I think we sold a bond today for a school district at 11 bids or so. So there's lots of interest out there. And not a lot of bond sales for cities yet. They're still kind of gearing up right in the spring here. So this should be a good one. So we also have a schedule of events right attached to the back of the pre-sale report. So we've got that project that we just talked about being financed here. 3 sort of bonding authorities. The other project is a water revenue project for just half of the new water treatment plant at Woodland Cove. The other part of that would be financed probably in 2027 because it's a long, sort of drawn out process, right? And this is kind of reimbursing the city for costs you've already incurred there. So we're going to get you some of your money back on that. And then equipment financing as well, which is kind of what we do every year or so, right, Brian? Right?
Every year, every couple.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So the two, the street and the water are 20-year bonds or portions, and then the equipment is just a 5-year, which is pretty much how you guys roll with the equipment portions as well. I don't know if you wanted to look at estimated interest rates. We do have them sort of cushioned up a little bit, like 0.5%, but we're just kind of looking at maybe 3.6 on the 20-year. 2.2 or so on the 5-year, then we just kind of sell all this together. And the bond buyers don't really care what we've all got kind of mixed in here. They're just looking at one big $14.84 million 20-year bond. So we've already gone through that street reconstruction plan process, right? And at the end of last year, I got plenty of authority to kind of move forward with the bonds now. So we should be in good shape. We will put a call date on there. We talked about prepayment at any time on any day after a certain date without penalty. That looks like 9 years is kind of the sweet spot on a 20-year bond issue. We'll run it through our quality control at Ellers and just make sure we're kind of spot on with the market, because if we go too short, we're going to pay for it with higher interest rates. We go too long, why would we want to do that, right? Just in case. So the bond is not non-bank qualified too. So it's over the $10 million limit the feds give every city and county and township. That's sort of extra little sort of incentive, right, for banks to kind of get in on this as well. So it's over that limit, which is fine. If it was under that limit, it might result in lower interest rates, but you guys are at AA plus, so you're almost a AAA, and it's a good quality bond issue out there. And this is going to be sold out in the public market too. So we're talking about broker dealers, underwriters, and all that kind of stuff. And banks will still come in and probably come in and help a little bit on the shorter end of the bond issue, the 10-year stuff. So we should be in good shape that way. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward bond issue, selling out into the market. We can invest the money right before we spend it, right? For all of this, whether it's reimbursement, that'll go quick, right? In and out. Otherwise, you can certainly invest it at a little higher interest rate, but within certain spending exceptions here, sort of thresholds that we need to watch out for on that too. So there's opportunities to invest and make a little bit of money on that side as well. So yeah, we're going to use Kutek Rock for the bond attorney, and Bond Trust Services is the paying agent, and Standard & Poor's as your rating agency. And we've already got the rating sort of conference call scheduled already on April 8th, right? So we're here tonight to kind of kick off this bond sale, and then we're going to have the rating call with staff on April 8th. Got that scheduled. We're going to come back. I'm going to come back on April 20th and show you all the wonderful bids we're going to get, right? And we're going to have them in order as we usually do. And you'll look at the top one, and that will be the the cheapest, most responsible bid that will be there. So we'll see what that looks like. And then we'll close this up on May 7th. And so you'll get all the money at once, and Brian knows what to do with it, right? Right? So yeah, it's like three things going on here, bundled it, like I say, just like the Progressive Insurance Company does. We're doing our best to do that. You're gonna save you some money that way. It's a bigger, longer bond like that will just be more attractive out into the market with your high credit rating. So yeah, so that is all I've got. 5 minutes of fame after all that one ahead of me. So if you have any questions, let me know, but you've done the drill before, and just wish us luck, right?
Yeah.
Looks good.
Any questions?
Just curious, is all the turmoil currently going on in the world, is that good for this kind of bond, or is it bad?
It seems, I talked to some of our, our bond sale coordinators, and like I say, 11 bids on a bond today. The more the bids, the lower the price, right? So, we're good. We don't really rely on oil prices and all that kind of stuff, but it's really, municipal bond, especially with a high rating like that, is a quality, instrument to invest in. So it's all good that way, right? Too. So I think it's the best we can do. It's tax exempt both on the federal and state level as well for those who like not to pay income taxes on stuff like this. So yeah, looks good. And like I say, the supply is a little thin right now, so that'll increase the demand. So I think it's just kind of economics 101 for us. It's more like that, I think, because it's a brand new bond issue going into the market. So how it gets traded after that, whatever, right? We got our money, our interest rate, and we're all good. So I wish I could come up with something a little bit more colorful, but we should be good. And then you really just put this out on the market when you can. You can't really time the market on with any of this, and sometimes you get kind of bit if you did a little bit. So, with the good bids that we have for the project and everything, and reimburse ourselves, get our fund balances up a little bit. I think it's the perfect storm. We should be fine. I'll let you know though if the sky falls a week in advance. We can sort of pull it back. I want your blessing on that. So.
Yeah,
Brian will be monitoring this. How we doing? How we doing,
Todd?
We still sell this thing. Yeah, we just don't close our eyes. So we have analysts and really smart people that say, Todd, I think we're good to go.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But rates are still in the cycle still at a good low point or whatever. So it is a good time to.
It is. Hey, I go back to 1980s when my house mortgage was 11%. So. I don't even have feelings for those folks that are complaining about that. So, I think we're all good. Maybe the prices are a little higher, right? But the interest rates seem to be just fine still. So yeah, all good. Good question.
Any other questions?
No.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take care of you. So there's a resolution for you guys to consider.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve resolution number 33-26 for the presale of the bond? Presale report resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. All right.
See you in a
Hopefully it goes
month or
well.
so.
See you in a month. Good news. Very low. Good news. All right, next we have task order number 16. Gary, I think this is you or Allison, or both of you.
You get to both do it if you want. Go ahead and start.
Hire me. Okay, so Acting Mayor Refkin and Council, included in your packet is information with regards to task order 16, which is construction administration services for the 2026 street improvement project. We've included with that a detailed breakdown of the fee so that council can see where the hours are allocated. And one thing to note is that our fee does not include a significant amount of construction observation. That's work that we anticipate that the city's engineering technician will take over. But we do have some hours was allocated to help with that transition. There is some training that the engineering technician still requires. And so our fee has included some hours in order to do that. And this is also a state aid project, which has a lot of nuances and paperwork. So we wanted to make sure that we had those resources allocated in the fee. So that the city can get everything in there, dot all the i's, cross all the t's associated with that. We've got included in there also the construction materials testing, which is required for a project of this kind, and also some public engagement, because that continues to be a great way to for work that was typically done by the construction inspector and construction administration team. We now have a dedicated person who is specialized in those communication skills with residents and is a great resource for doing a great job documenting and answering probably 90% of the emails and phone calls that come in. So we've included that with the proposal. The fee is we have for construction surveying and construction materials testing, it's a flat fee, an hourly not to exceed fee. And then the remaining construction administration would be an hourly estimated, because there are things that do come up in construction that while we do our best to anticipate some of those things, if something goes and takes a little bit longer to do, that's why we have it as an hourly estimated contract. And I would be happy to answer any questions that the council may have with the fee proposed or the services proposed.
And I'll add on that with Brendan being out there and kind of new to this kind of inspection stuff, he's kind of excited to learn it. We are signing him up for to be the MnDOT certification for asphalt work. And then we'll also be signing him up to do the inspection of seal coat and that, and fog seal that, and crack filling too, which will help us again, kind of move away from doing more of the in-house, or moving towards in-house and using contracted services. This will be a great learning opportunity for them. Ms. Hulse and I have talked about this in depth, that this is a great opportunity for a lot of different purposes of this job. There's a lot of things going on. So he did great with working with AE2S on the installation of the piping for the school project, which saved a lot of money. This will just, and he's excited to learn this. This is something new to him, and he really likes that, and really excited to step up and do this.
Any questions? All right, there are no questions. Is there a motion to approve resolution number 3426, approving task order 16? So moved. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. Next, we have administrative items. Public Works surplus property sale update. Gary?
Yes, Acting Mayor Refkin there. Thank you. Just want to give you guys an update. If you recall last year, you guys approved an policy for us to sell, dispose, salvage old equipment that we have in Public Works that has been used for quite a while. Kind of started because we had a bunch of weed whips laying around, stuff like that to get rid of. Kind of went through stuff this winter, found up in the storage barn some old side toolboxes to get rid of, metal tracks for a wheeled skid loader with having new track machines. They're very cumbersome to put on. Nobody really uses them anymore. Surprised we got what we got for them. So I'm, just, it's nice to get rid of them. We had some old tires and rims for the Bobcat that don't fit the ones that we have now that were in there. We have the unleaded gas tank from the old fuel system that the city owned. The diesel ones are rented for $1 a year. So those went back to Mid-County. We also had an old tailgate sander, nice stainless steel one, for truck number 5. Truck number 5 that was 2 trucks ago. It's never, it sat up in the shed. So, it was in there, it was here when I got here. So it never was used. It was, from what I understood from the beginning, it was never used because it didn't work. So it just sat there, and there's just no use for it for us. We also, the flail mower that was being replaced this year, we had gotten a $500 offer trade-in. So with putting this stuff on the govdeals.com website, we can set a reserve for it. So Randy set a reserve for it, and instead of the $500, we actually got $1,625 for it.
Yeah.
So the city of Little Canada bought it for parts for theirs, so which is great. Got more than that. Same with the two rollers that we have, the big roller. If you recall, earlier this year, we're replacing our oversized huge roller that we have and our small one with one kind of in between. We had gotten estimates, I think it was $4,000 for the little one for a trade-in and $6,400 for the big one. We put reserves on them. Unfortunately, the big one only made $5,000, but we did get $6,600 for the small one. So we made an extra $2,600 putting it out for bid, which is great for us. And then we had, the other thing, we had an old tack trailer out back with a spray bar on it. You know, it's more used for paving projects than anything else. Storing tack, we don't use it anymore. I mean, I shouldn't say anymore. We hardly ever used it. It sat here pretty much, I mean, I'm starting my 14th year, so it's been here and unused probably for 10 years. It had actually a 3-inch tree growing between the frames. So we had to cut it to get rid of it. It's pretty much obsolete for us. We did get $3,300 for it. So in grand total, we got $12,469 for everything. So hopefully that will go all into the equipment fund. I'm assuming, since that's where most of it probably came out of. So, so yeah, it's great. I also want to give you one other
He's already spent.
add on, if I could, just another update. The Met Council has asked for, to be able to shut the road down for the Highland Road
That
lift station there again. They're going to be doing the final CIPP lining of the pipes. What the older pipes are getting basically a lining system put through to stop leaks and stuff. That'll be happening March 31st through April 3rd. We see no issue with it. They have their detours will be posted and everything. So their detour will be, as you come up here, it'll continue on 110. There'll be a sign up here to direct them 92 and around, down to 7 and back around. So, be nice to get that project done. And as you're aware, they repaved the road for us there from 7 to, the bridge. They added a lot of curbing in for us. They fixed the catch basins there at the bridge for us. So we kind of got a lot of, I won't call it free stuff, but I'll say free, but we pay for it. We pay for it through our fees, but it's nice to get something from that. So, so that's going to be there. And then just a quick question to see if you'd like to pursue it. Jasper and I received a text message earlier tonight here. The school district is requesting a weight restriction waiver for their project at the school. They have some contractors that would like to start working, and they would like to talk, they would like it to have their weight increased. It's currently 5 tons per axle. I've already denied this once, but that was through the contractor. Kevin Borg is asking for this directly. So I'm just going to ask you guys, if you want Ms. Fosky and I to kind of meet with the contractor, see what they're thinking for a weight restriction, what they would like it lifted to, and see if we feel we're comfortable with that. The road was improved in 2021, so it can handle a little bit more load increase, but we don't want to increase it too much and have the road beat up. So I will say then my time here and all the time before that, from what I told, there's only 3 incidents that warrant a waiver, and that would be well issues, septic issues, or if you're moving. So I'll just ask you if you want us to kind of look into that and meet with them, or just tell us no, and I will relay it on to them, and then he can come and plead his case and to you and again and try. But it's totally up to you if you want us to kind of look into that, see what it entails, and bring something back to you, at the next meeting, or even,
How soon would the restrictions come off anyway?
The restrictions are on, they've been on. So, I mean, they will be going on until, the frost is out of the ground and everything firms up. So it could be now with the snow again and, the little freezing weather we've had, it could be another 3-4 weeks yet, could be less. depending on what warm up. So, personally, I'm not in favor of it, but, you know, I don't know what Ms. Falsky's opinion of it is. Like anything, like everybody I've always told, you know, we pay a lot of money for the roads to get them to where they're at. I understand that what their need is. You know, maybe one way of doing it is we, you know, put some stipulations in place, you know, with, you know, take, you know, photos of it, have it, you know, document what it looks like. If something would happen, then they are liable for it. But that's, you know, I'm gonna leave it ultimately to your decision, what you like us to do. And if you want us to pursue and talk to them and look at it and bring something back and get your final opinion, it's up to you guys.
I'm a no. I don't want the new road destroyed and I don't want to hope they don't ruin it and then wait for them to fix it again. So, I mean, it's a nice road. I don't want it ruined. They can wait like everyone else.
Our next,
New council.
What do you think about it?
next council meeting is not till
I think that there's, as Gary mentioned, there's, the road was improved in 2021. So I'd need to check and see, with that pavement section, if there's any wiggle room, if you will, from what the current restriction is. But to Gary's point, we have road restrictions in place because this is when the roads are very vulnerable to deterioration during this, the frost coming out. So if council would like us to see, I think there could be a technical way for us to figure out if there's a technical increase that we could afford them. But to just go and do it blindly, I think that we would stick to what the current regulation is.
Seems like we should wait.
Wait. Wait, 4-0. That's a no to,
Pardon?
that's a no for superintendent board.
Okay, we'll relay the message. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other staff updates?
If I may, I have a brief one. We've been busy, and I say we, because Peter and Brian have been helping talk to legislators about our bonding project. So far we've spoke to 7 different legislators in either the House or Senate that are on the capital investment committees. So I think they went pretty well. Everybody seems to be pretty supportive of our project. It's just if there's going to be a bonding bill or not. We went to City Day on the Hill, and I think the consensus was like a 60% chance for a bonding bill, which I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see. But I think we have the right project, and you know, I think everybody's been pretty supportive. So if there is a bonding bill or a possibility, there will be a full court press to make sure that they know about our project, and hopefully we can get that worked in. So, and then the only other thing I have is that there is a new fire chief in the city of Mound. So the city of Mound selected Andy Drilling, who
Minnetrista resident.
who's a Minnetrista resident.
Fire chiefs are Minnetrista residents.
Yeah. So he will be starting April 1st officially. So there will be some overlap between him and Chief Peterson. There will be a celebration of Chief Peterson's career, 51 years with Mound on the fire department. So quite a long time. It might actually hit 52 in the meantime, but 51 years so far. So we'll have to, once we get information about that retirement party celebration, we'll share that with the group. But there's a new fire chief hired. That's all I have.
Is there a planning commission meeting?
There will be, yes.
Do we need someone for it?
Yeah, that would be great.
That's next Monday, right? The
Yeah.
23rd?
I believe so. Yeah.
I cannot go. Can anyone go?
I think I can go.
Claudia?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I'll let David know.
23rd, yes.
Any council updates, council reports?
Well, we went to the Capitol Day, Hill Day, and that was really interesting. And I came away not really sure what was going to happen, but they were all very nice to us. And then this week I have the Pioneer Sarah Creek Watershed District meeting. That's about it for me.
Claudia?
Not really, just that the Gillespie Center is looking to hire a new administrator and they're in the midst of it right now.
Right?
Yes.
Nothing. Actually, the one thing I was going to add for Cities on the Hill, didn't Senator Pappas's chief of staff, he said, what was it? He has $4.9 billion in requests for 1.2 billion in total state aid, which that's before the state priority gets cut off the top.
Well,
Yeah.
that's depressing.
Well, and the thing we have going for us is that they seem to be focused on infrastructure, water, infrastructure, bridges, stuff like that. So we're in the right grouping of projects, but there's a lot of ones that are in there that are quite expensive that aren't in that group too. So
We'll be doing like a groundbreaking photo op on ours.
we will likely probably end of May, beginning of June. We'll do something. Yeah.
I don't have any updates other than, once again, the fire partnership meeting that was supposed to be tomorrow is canceled, so that's not really new. All right, any other updates? Any reports? Chief, do you have anything? How many accidents were there yesterday?
Believe it or not, very few.
People stayed home.
People stayed home. Yeah, it was,
I hear it.
I was worried when I came in this morning, but no, it looked good.
Excellent. Gary, thank you, your staff, for
Thanks, Gary.
out
Yeah.
early
Oh, Gary.
yesterday morning.
Yeah, they did a good job, yes.
They did.
All right, with that, our next meeting will be April 6th at 6:30. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was stuck here all night.
Text 9.875.
Gary.